Yo, here's a Super Baby 2 optimal combos guide looking at his best practicals and breaking them down. He has a lot of character specific stuff, so I'll show those but focus on universal routes. A lot of it is built around his loops, so let's get looping. He has a few routes mid-screen. This J2H route, Unscaled, can look like this for 5.7k and 2.5 bars to keep the corner. The first dash is the important part, the next micro walk into 5L is just super quick to move a bit forward. If you don't dash, then the 214S will whiff after 6S. Or you can do these dashes into loops into 214M grab for a lot more damage, but then you put them back mid-screen. For this one, just time the lariat right after you spin and input the grab right after the 3S. After the grab ender, you can air dash to get meter, helpful to go into supers or for Oki. Skilled goes like this for 4.6k and 2.6 bars. It's just very similar, to be honest. Again, getting less damage with the DR ender, but still usable after 2L 2L. Also for this JDR ender, if it's a short combo you can just do JS into the Dragon Rush, but if it's a longer then you have to actually jump after and then do JS into the Dragon Rush, so you'll see that come up later. But you do need to take out a loop to work on Krillin, Frieza and Gotenks for some reason, so it's just a bit shorter at the end. Here's this 5H route that's usually better. Unskilled gives 5.8k for 2.5 bars. Pretty much the same, except you use 5H instead of jump cancelling, which can help with hit confirms. Unskilled into super can go like this for more damage. You need to delay the JLL for extra height, but it is a tight window with the layers at the end. Skilled can look like this for 4.6k, following the same logic as earlier. I found this skilled version to be harder than the other skilled version, and you need to do J236M on GT Goku. Now there's a rejump that leads into his max damage variation for 6.5k. Shout out to Nightshifter96 for this clip. You definitely do need to practice the delay timings in order to land into a super jump and then continuing it from there, and the vanish part can also be a bit tricky with the height, so good luck with that. But his unskilled combos already do great damage anyways, especially since you can vanish extended at the end too. You can even go into his loops from his air to airs if you have the readiness and awareness for it, again having to dash once you do land after your lariat to get the mid-screen loops going. And this is really some baby mastery right here if you can confirm these. But if you struggle with these loops and want a practical hit confirm, after the first head dive just delay 3S into super dash. No timing needed here, but it can be hard to get a knockdown if you try to add too much to it. Or on skilled you can just end it right away with a grab. Or go into a super basic BNB, and also remember that J12 does give you knockdown, but it is worth learning the loops. Close to the corner, Unskilled Confirm gives you 6.3k, being able to use M dive, and it's nice because you don't need to micro dash anymore. It does kind of rely on your distance of the corner though, so you have to be sure that you have the spacing right, and you just need to kind of time them. Or the 2M5M version can look like this. Remember you can still JDR ender for less damage, but still getting 5.9k in the corner. And this is good because you can also go into his alternate level 3 from the knockdown. Skilled confirmed for 4.4k, and honestly this one felt really easy. It's just the 1S timing that can be a bit tricky in the middle of the loops, since you kind of do have to wait till baby lands and then you input it, so you can't do it too early or else you'll get JS. Here's his max damage close to the corner route for 6.9k by KJ Pixel 14. Mash the jump input so it comes out with some delays after. And it's super cool how you can jump out of the beam since it has so much hit stun to extend it, but I personally struggled with getting the timing right on this last vanish part, because you do need to kind of make sure that the height is perfect to continue it. And here's a side note, whenever you do reach the corner, you can set up his level 3 mix by doing JS earlier on, then delay 3S after landing into 24S and level 3 input right away. It's the regular level 3, and then you steal the corner and you can either add AD to mix or stay same side. Back to the corner, Meteor's optimal 2H extension for 4.7k 2.4 bars is like the previous route, but with an extra loop using 3S into delayed 6S. You can add more damage to this by using a bar with a Vanish, using M dive, and delay the 5H a bit after the second one. If you're close to the corner, you have to do a Vanish into 5M jump DR since you do Sideswitch when you're too close to it. If you make it to the corner earlier by the second jump, you can go into the loops ender just so regularly. Or for more damage, add an extra loop in to get the grab ender. These are just routes to go into once you realize you do in fact reach the corner. Baby has a very different one when he actually starts in the corner, and we'll go over that in the corner section. Now for DR routes, this one gives you 3.9k and 2.5 bars by delaying the JL after JM. A Vanish extended version for more damage can look like this for 4.5k. You just need to jump straight up and delay the second JL to make sure that this link works. Here's a simple super dash confirm at any height that gives 4.0k for a quarter bar. This uses the EX dive to kind of reset the combo again, and then you just need to delay this 5M on Teen Gohan. Again, on these shorter combos, you don't need to jump after 214S to land the JS into JDR. You can kind of just mash it, but it does help with consistency. Here's an easier and practical 0 bar version that doesn't involve any loops or dashes, but only gives you 3.4k. So you do miss out on a lot. And here's an add-on. You can side switch with these using a quick 3S2 into super dash, although these can be a bit inconsistent. Or if you're not ready at all, just get the knockdown right away. 214S confirm can lead you into the mid-screen loops for 4k damage, just starting with a dash 5H to get it started. Again, very similar route with a JS or 5S or any Vanish confirm, and remember you can end these loops with M grab for more damage and include some 3S too. Now 6H can have this unique confirm with a 3S and vanishing right after each of the key blasts go up, but this time it can be a bit tight, although it is cool how you preserve the 5H smash from this. You can confirm a raw beam hit with the super dash routes we went over earlier. You just need to cut them a bit shorter so it can look like this. The different 236H confirms, so EX dive, have already been kinda shown earlier, with this being the best variation by delaying the second set of JLs. And if you land his auto combo grab mix, the confirm follows the same logic with the beam super dash into his normals, into the loops. Pretty much all of his hits kind of revolve around these mid-screen loops, but in the corner it kind of changes, so it's finally time to go over that. You can actually find more info on his corner routes with this baby corner combo doc that's linked in the description. That includes video links for examples too, covering character specific aspects. Thank you to the baby Discord for making this. I think Saturn was the main guy that put this together. He has a lot of character specific stuff, but I'll just focus on the important routes. His Unscaled Universal looks like this for almost 7k damage and 2.7 bars. The delay with the last J2H is key to get the rest, and time the 1S when you land like usual. Everything else is just input it as quickly as possible. There is another quadruple beam route for 200 more damage like this, but this only works on half the cast, where some needs delays on the beam, and there's another version of this too. Honestly, it is harder. You need to do everything as fast as you can, then time the 2S after landing, but it feels weird using the 5S in this way. There's another 2S loop for more meter but similar damage, and these two character specific ones have their scaled versions that are similar, so I'll let you look at the document if you want to look into these. Here's the scaled variation of the universal combo. Just need to go into 5H after 2 hits for 5k-ish damage depending on the starters, so you want to confirm into 5H as soon as possible, which can be a bit rough. You'll have to cut it short if you want to L grab into Vanish, which is nice for his alternate level 3, or it'll drop after the Vanish, removing your chance to get the DR in. And again, delay JS early into delayed 3S to 4S for the level 3 mix. Doing an air dash into JS can help with this delayed timing and helps to make it more consistent. If you go for the cross-up mix, this is your confirm off of that, and if you just stay same side, then you go back to the mid-screen scaled combos. Now this hit does lead to a 2-trust scenario in order to kill, so that's very nice. Max damage looks like this for 7.2k with a bar for Vanish. Thank you again, Nightshifter96. This route isn't too hard, but the end can be very tricky to get the timings to get them at the right height. So again, being height dependent if you want to get this extension at the end to secure all the damage. Now going back to his 2H corner universal optimal can look like this for 6.3k and 2.7 bars. Again, by delaying J2H, it's honestly not as hard as it looks, and there's a harder 2S loop version of this out there on the combo doc, so you can go check that out if you're interested. But again, it is character specific. And with the Dragon Rush, the universal route is where you time the jump after the beam disappears, giving 4.5k damage for 2.8 bars, also having a 1S version that replaces 5S, giving more damage but it doesn't work on everyone. And if you land your auto combo grab mix, here's a universal route out of the 3 optimal ones. It's pretty hard to get the dash and everything needs to be timed right away, but it is a lot more optimal than the previous one we saw earlier that was done mid-screen. And finally, end the grounded part of his loops earlier if you want to go into 6H for tag team possibilities. The generic ender is just jump, wait, and DR, but this is meant for unique team things. So it's usually saved for specific Oki setups and synergistic stuff. You just gotta kind of experiment around with it depending on who you play. A common one is with Zamasu to get his Blaze of Judgment that secures mix on Oki. This 6H stuff kinda applies anywhere, even earlier mid-screen to get extreme corner carry into the tag character's optimal routes. Again, having to experiment around with it, and there is no like optimal version for Baby because it does depend on the team and the character you're tagging into. Now time for some TODs. Here's a 0 bar sparked TOD from 2H mid-screen. It's honestly pretty easy, and remember you can dash at the end for extra meter, but the timing on the assist will depend on the ones you use of course. And your inputs need to be tight or else the 3S into grab link at the end will drop. That's honestly the harder part, but if you have high damaging supers or extra meter, you could just EX grab it or something. Here's even a Rounstart TOD I found on Twitter from Reverie_SR, so thank you for that. Using Spirit Bomb that I thought would be cool to mention, although you know, gotta hit confirm your Rounstart. And this can be adjusted to be a more general 214S TOD starting with more meter depending on your teams and super capabilities. And honestly, all his corner unskilled routes can lead to TODs with assists at the end. Here's an example from Mr. Mars 222 that ends up being a Sparkless TOD for 1.5 bars with a level 2 super. So in this case I used UI Goku, but there's Beerus, there's Trunks, there's Master Roshi, and a damaging TN, so you got options. And an easier sparked version with 0 bars that leaves you 2.1 bar positive after the fact. Again, similar ending as the others depending on assist and their appropriate timings. I found that it can be hard with different types of assists, but beams usually tend to be pretty easy to time. Now here are some solo ones too, starting with this midscreen 2M TOD starting with 2 bars. Can be done anywhere and isn't too hard, just the timing at the end with a super jump at JM into spin, then wait for the first key blast to fire to level 3. You could make this more optimal with harder links though, but I'd say 2 bars is pretty good for an easy TOD. And finally, here's a corner 2M solo Sparkless TOD for almost 0 bars, again, almost being the same as his optimal corner route from earlier. Before ending the video, I just want to thank Saturn and Tyrant for some of these combos. Check out their videos, they're great, and the Baby Discord as well, which I will link in the description too if you want to dive into that. Thank you all for watching, hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.